Yes, people, welcome back to From the Ground Up podcast. Wanted to introduce episode 3. Today's guest is someone who spent years mastering the art of training dogs, helping thousands of dogs and their owners along the way. He's created his own obedience and puppy training courses, runs a team of 3 staff members, and specializes in behavior modification, taking on the challenges that most wouldn't dare. Recently, he stepped into a whole new role as a father, adding another layer to his incredible journey, and today there's no topics off limits. Ladies and gentlemen, owner of Down Under Dog Training, it's Max O'Neill.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
No stress. Mate, I'll give you the chance to introduce yourself, introduce who you are, where you grew up, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, cool. So, hey everyone, I'm Max. I'm just a dog trainer on the coast, just doing my thing. I've been doing my thing now for about 7 years. The Gold Coast is where we're based, but we actually started our business in the UK. And I grew up a little bit south of the border down in New South Wales. And as long as I can remember, I wanted to do exactly what I'm doing, working for myself and training dogs. So I'm pretty happy where I've ended up.
Yeah, for sure. How did it start in the UK?
Well, I was in the UK and I was halfway through uni and I was doing a gap year that turned into a gap 3 years. And I was lucky enough to be working a job that had a lot of flexibility and a lot of spare time. And I'm always someone that struggles to sit still and struggles to be idle. And I kind of started channeling that rather than just doing dumb shit, started working on some stuff in the background. And that's where I started my business. And it was cool. I was just known for a while as the Aussie guy that trains dogs, so hence the name, Down Under Dog Trainer.
Yeah.
And for a while, it was a really dumb name. When I first moved back to Australia, I was like, why the fuck am I called Down Under Dog Trainer now from just in Australia? But it's kind of come full circle now. We've got international and interstate clients. It's given us kind of like a bit of a national identity, so that works well now. Yeah,
for sure. What was the point that you decided that dog training was the way to go? Like, did you grow up loving dogs? Was it always a thing?
Yeah, I grew up like loving dogs.
Did you have a family dog?
Yeah. So I guess I'll give you like the dog origin story if you want. So growing up, we had a couple of dogs and we were by no means like good dog people at all. Like if my family now were some of our clients of mine, I'd fucking fire them. Like, you guys suck. Yeah. No good. So we had 2 dogs, like a Tenterfield Terrier and then a Brittany Spaniel. Wow. And we gave away both those dogs before they made it to like 2 years of age. And in hindsight, we probably didn't walk enough. We didn't do anything. We didn't know enrichment. We didn't understand any of the stuff that we know and preach now. And my idea growing up was just like, dogs are either good or they're shit. And I didn't really think much past that. And then fast forward 10 years, we probably went quite a while without a dog, or, maybe not 10 years, 6 or 8 years. We got the opportunity to adopt a Newfoundland, which for anyone that knows is just this giant black mammoth of a fucking dog. And I remember making this comment to the breeder, which always stuck with me. I was like, you're so lucky, she's such a good dog. And he's like, nah, we've just put loads of work into train her. And I don't know why, but that is really it was just the right comment at the right time for whatever I was feeling at that point in my life. And it really stuck with me. So we got Chelsea, this dog, and it was really cool. I was aware of what she'd been trained with and I kept it going and like became, I think, I was maybe 12 or 13, but I became like her primary caregiver and like was the one walking every day, feeding her and maintaining everything. And when we then got our next dog, I remember us going, all right, we're getting another puppy. The last 2 puppies we've had that haven't been trained, like we've fucked up. So I need to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So again, I really like put it on myself to train Gus, this Labrador we had. And we did pretty well. Like he had really good obedience with everything and you could, walk around off leash and good recall and even won like a little obedience contest and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And I remember at that point going like, man, this is sick. And from that point, I wanted to do dog training. Like even if you go back through all my stuff at school, like on my year 10 careers form, like, what do you want to do? I was like, dog trainer.
Yeah.
That was at like 15, 16. I knew what I wanted. And
it's a different thing too. Like you don't hear that very often. Hey? I want to be a chippy. I want to be an electrician. Like dog trainers like never.
And where I went to school was like very academic. So it was more like doctor, lawyer, this and that. And I was like, want to train dogs. So like,
what?
Do you realize the salary is like 30,000? I was like, yeah, but I'll work for myself and make it better. Or I was like, it's all good. I'll join the military or the police and whatever. And
did you ever look to like go into the military or police and train dogs?
Yeah, I did. So I looked at the police, but if I'm really honest, I probably wasn't as passionate enough about law enforcement. You've got to be like a beat cop for like 6 years before you can even start to get into it. And I was like, fuck that, honestly.
Stuff like that.
And then, I actually applied to get into military, but at the time I was like, I didn't get medically cleared. I was on like antidepressants and shit. So they were like, no. So that was cool.
That's fair
but honestly, it was probably worked out for the best because here I am.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I was gonna say as well, like, so obviously you started it by yourself.
Yeah.
When you came back to Australia, what sort of point did you grow the team? Like, did it go from you to one person once you got back in Australia?
Yeah. Well, so when I started it was just like a,
one man band.
It was a hobby. Yeah, it was a hobby that then turned into a jobby. Like, I guess we'll get into that, I'm sure, soon. But getting back, I was a sole trader for probably like a year when I moved back. And I reckon within a year, we'd probably built, a year to 2 years, we built enough demand where my first employee was an admin staff just because I was smashing myself with work all day. Like our thing was 7 till 7 till 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 7 days a week. So it left like very little time for me to keep on top of inquiries. So we've got an admin staff and we've had someone in an admin position for a number of years.
Wow.
And then later on, we had other stuff. We had like a dog walker for a bit and whatnot. And then we slowly just, while we kind of felt out what we wanted to do, and then once we niched down and figured out exactly what we wanted and what our service was going to be, that allowed us to, focus and
Just grow
our team from there. Started employing more people and building the team.
Yeah, for sure. So how important has branding been from the beginning, or did it evolve later?
Yeah, branding's been pretty important from the beginning. Like I said, even when I started and it first became a business, I knew I needed something a little bit catchy. I looked around at all the businesses in the area, and I found people were either giving themselves like a really corny generic name.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like, off leash this or whatever, or alpha this. And I was like, oh, that sucks. Or just their name. They'd call themselves like, Todd Newbury Dog Training, kind of making a name for himself. I'm like, nah, neither of those stand out. And I guess I'd always been somewhat into branding for whatever reason. I just kind of liked that sort of shit and found it pretty appealing. So that was why we went with Down Under Dog Trainer. I was already known as the Aussie guy. I thought it gave me a bit of a point of difference.
Pretty lucky to secure that name too, hey?
Lucky.
Big, like you think that it would have already been taken.
Yeah, it had some cool
Was dog training pretty big when you first started it up?
Yeah, it was starting to get big, which was good. Is you obviously got like your kind of industry veterans, like whatever you feel about them, your Cesar Milans, whatever else, like they paved the way for everyone.
Yeah.
And then we started to have some bigger people in the UK come up, which is good. So it went from being like a kind of obscure job to one that's a bit more respected, and where people kind of thought before, like, oh, like, why would you get someone to train your dog? Like it started to become more normalized. So that definitely helped. It was a little bit one of the things, like not joining it at the right time. Like there was never really like a boom, but I think if I tried to do it 10 years ago, it probably wouldn't have been as successful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And what was the biggest struggle you reckon you had at the start? Like once you went, right, I'm going to create this. Yeah. Is there one struggle that you think, fuck, that was hard to overcome, or, was there anything that poked out at the start?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's this case with every business person. It's just like your own biggest enemy. Like I think 99% of people in business can probably identify with, I'm my business's biggest asset, but also my business's biggest anchor. Yeah. And I definitely felt myself be that way. If I think at the beginning, like the first few years, I'm like, well, I'm the person that delivers the training and the product, and I'm in that sense the thing that business relies on. But I'm also, stopping us from leveling up because of my own like stupid shit, whether I'm getting distracted or focusing on the wrong things or not putting enough energy or effort in. So yeah.
How old were you when you first started dog training, like on a serious level?
On a serious level, probably when I was 23. So
a lot of people are still like drinking and that sort of stuff at that age.
Yeah.
Like going out on the session and stuff. So
I think I kind of got that shit out of my system pretty early. Like, when we got that Labrador at 15, it became a hobby of mine. I got really into dog training and, would watch like YouTube videos and get pretty into it. And I guess it just became, I wouldn't say known at all, like in a wider sense, but just along with my friends as like, oh, Max is a guy that's good with dogs, so you'd help out this. They'd be like, oh, how do you get the dog to do that? Or can you stop it doing that? And that was cool. And that also provided some pretty good opportunities when I was in the UK as one of the jobs we applied for, where I was like a groundskeeper. I don't think we were going to get the job, but they kind of offhandedly mentioned like, oh, we've also got this fucking Weimaraner who's a bit of a dickhead, and we'd love for someone to sort him out. And I was like, well, I'm actually pretty handy in that department. So that was so that was how we got that job, and it was doing that for a couple of years. Started to take it a lot more seriously when I got that job, because there was some level of expectation around it at that point.
Yeah.
And then 23, I think, was when I started the business.
Wow. Yeah. So obviously, a lot of people say they're going to start a business and then they give up.
Yeah.
And what do you think helped your business stand out? Because obviously there's quite a bit, like you say, it was the main ones that paved the way.
Yeah.
But what do you think, I think now even you now paved the way, like going forward.
Yeah.
What do you think helped you stand out from the rest of the businesses that were just saying, I'm a dog trainer?
Honestly, like, I don't think we had anything that special about us early on, if I'm really honest, other than just doing what people paid us to do. I couldn't believe when I would see clients even very early on, and sometimes I was a second, third, fourth person that people had saw, and like some of the things that they'd been told to do or shown to do, whatever, it was just ludicrous. And I think early on it was just good bang for buck and good value, and still is, because we deliver results. And
absolutely,
it's a really weird and
I've even seen that myself, with my own dog.
Oh, I appreciate it. Old Georgie boy.
Yeah.
But it's a weird one. Like, a lot of other industries are pretty, most industries are pretty black and white results. Like if you pay someone to fix your car, like, it's fixed at the end of the day. Like, you're not going to still have a flat tire. And I couldn't believe that a lot of my clients weren't seeing results or being told to do this and that. So I think just early on, it was just doing a good, solid job. And it was probably a while before I really figured out how to grow and scale and market a business correctly.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that helped us early on was just word of mouth. And once you understand how powerful word of mouth is and the compounding interest effect behind it, like, that can really help you grow early on. Even if you don't know shit about business, if you're just really good at your job, word of mouth just goes like this. Because if this person refers 2 friends and each of those people refer 2 friends, it's just like this
pyramid scale type. Yeah.
It's good.
So obviously, a lot of people, they might second guess starting a business, or they might be influenced by other people's thoughts.
Yeah.
Was there any people in particular that you had maybe doubt you in the start, or say like dog training is not a career, like, you can't really make much from it?
Yeah, definitely.
There must have been someone that you're like, you're just a dick.
yeah, definitely. Like my dad actually was someone who was like that. And I remember, like, when I was over in the UK, he's like, oh, it's time to come home now, like, and do something, and
wow.
Maybe like stop all this dog walking nonsense, and do something real and do this and that. And so definitely copped a bit of stick from him.
Yeah.
But
just have to kind of like look past it, and
but honestly, that sort of shit's like water off a duck's back. I'm someone that's like pretty immune to that stuff. I'm like, all right, all good. I'm just,
that's your opinion.
I think it's funny. It's something I still get a little bit to this day. Like, what's interesting is, like, I'm pretty modest. Like, when I introduce myself, I don't really say, oh, like, I'm a business owner or a director or whatever. I just go like, oh, hey, I train dogs. Like, that's what I do. And it's funny, you sometimes get this little like, oh, okay, like, you're doing all right sort of thing. You still get a bit of that, like, whether you call that doubt or whatever. But
that's exactly right though, because even when me and my partner, we started training George, and we were coming to like the puppy school. Yeah. And I remember like driving back one night, and I was like, oh, there was like, did you see Max? Like, and she's like, yeah, that's Max. And I'm like, oh, what? He like runs the show? And she's like, yeah. I was like, oh, he didn't really like say much about running the show, and like you just said, like, you kind of keep quite a low profile. Yeah. And it kind of clicked to me. I was like, oh, he actually like owns like what we're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean, like, it's pretty cool, because a lot of people like to be the spotlight, don't they? Yeah,
and that was one thing where I've tried to, like I said, I'm still like modest and humble the way I go about my life, but definitely, like, in a professional sense, it's somewhere where I have tried to shift my focus for a bit. There's a large part of when I started this where the whole first half or more, I was like dog trainer first, business owner second, and that was really good. It really helped me improve at my craft, and things grew really organically, which was nice. We didn't have this explosive growth that then dropped off. It just really kept climbing steadily, which is nice. But at this point in my time, I've definitely had to balance out the two and try and identify just as strongly as a business owner as a dog trainer, because yeah, at the end of the day, if you want things to keep going and you want things to grow to a point where you can employ people and give them a job and have a larger reach, that's what you've got to do. But it's something that comes pretty naturally, because if I'm really honest, I'm equally as passionate about dog training and business. Like, if you had to ask me what I'm more passionate about, what I spend more time thinking about, like I'd really struggle to split the two.
Wow.
And I think for anyone who wants to last in business, you've got to be passionate about it. Like, yeah, there's all the perks that you see, and yeah, you can take a day off when you want, all that shit. But it's a tough slog being self-employed and being directly responsible for your income and whether there's a roof over your head or not. So
absolutely. And we'll touch a little bit further on that a little bit down the track. But
got to be passionate about it. That's
for sure. And what I want to get into next is training and industry insights.
Yeah.
So you're the man when it comes to dog training. So
no, not at all.
What is the most common behavioural issue that you see with dog owners struggling with?
Dog reactivity. That's the one we see the most.
Do you want to go a little bit further on that? And what?
Yeah,
what,
cool.
You know,
so dog reactivity is when a dog has any type of abnormal reaction to some type of stimuli in the environment. So that could be a person, a car, or mostly it's another dog. Most reactions, the ones you see are like pretty explosive and pretty violent. You'll see dogs like kicking off, hitting the end of the leash, trying to bite whatever's in sight, and trying to basically just repel that thing backwards. And we're seeing more and more and more of that, just because people are putting their dog on the wrong equipment, getting a breed that probably doesn't suit them, and then not socializing them well enough early on.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the biggest misconception about dog training?
Biggest misconception around dog training? Oh, that's a good one, because on a daily basis we hear 100 of, oh, my uncle told me this, or I read online this.
Facebook forum.
Yeah, exactly. Probably the biggest misconception is that you can just go about everything with treats and rainbows, and there's never any downsides. Like, there's definitely points you have to put up some pretty solid boundaries and tell dogs no and stop them from doing stuff, because at the end of the day, they're in totally different species that are not designed to live in this world we've created. So unless you put up some pretty significant barriers, they're gonna ruin your life and make it a pretty tough one to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
As you guys would have found with George.
Yeah, well, he's pretty good. Like, we've obviously we did puppy school with you.
Yeah.
The teenager Puberty Blues.
Yeah.
And we just did obedience. We just passed obedience
you
one.
Did, mate. Smashed
so that was pretty good. And that was actually a brand new one that you just brought out.
Yeah, exactly.
We were in first class, I think we were.
Yeah, you guys in your inaugural intake were always trying to put out new things and just find things that work for different customers. And yeah, we found that a lot of people were doing this and asking us what's next, and we started to get more and more of those people who are not just doing dog training as a necessity, but doing it as a hobby and loving it just as much as us. So that's where some of those new programs came from.
Yeah, and it's important to listen to like your customer base as well. Hey, like
100%.
Like you said, like that probably got you thinking about doing the obedience.
Yeah,
it's like people are coming to our puppy, the puberty blues, and then they're like, what's next? Because I think when you are committed to training your dog and like you go on that mission, you just want that next thing, don't you? Like, and then like now you've got puberty blues 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Like you do one and you're like, well, like what's the? You kind of got that competition side. Yeah. Like it's very important to listen to your customer base and kind of work what they want as well, because they'll always come back, hey?
Yeah, 100%. And like from a dog training perspective, there's people constantly wanting something to level up and achieve to, just like you guys are with Lucy. But like from a business sense, and a bit of a peek behind the curtain, I suppose, is people are constantly, I say people, business owners are constantly looking at how they can capture new markets and whatnot. And ultimately they want to capture a new market to increase their revenue.
Yeah.
But honestly, the people that are the most warmed up and primed to spend money with you are your existing customer base. So sometimes you've got to look at how you can increase your spend per customer rather than capture a new market, because if you neglect your current customers and just look for new ones, you'll have this really high turnover, which can get a bit exhausting. And we found that earlier on. So we kind of looked at, we're like, all right, we've got enough people already here shopping with us. How can we just give them more and more products that, it's a win-win? Is they walk away happy that they've got like, fuck yeah, my dog's now doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And we're happy because we haven't had to go and find new people. We just service our existing people better already. So
and you build up more of a relationship too.
100%, 100%. Like all our people who just finished our Ultimate Obedience course, which is like our peak program at the moment, is like when everyone was in that class, I'm literally just surrounded by like friends at this point. Like, which is sick.
And
we've done so much together.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're in a class. It just feels like you're like in a friend group.
Yeah,
and you're just kind of all there for the same thing.
Yeah.
You want your respective dog to be the best they can.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you feel like you're in like a business aspect, if that makes sense. It just makes you feel like we're friends.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you've achieved, I think.
That's what you want, man. And that's, I guess, it is a perk of being self-employed. Like when I was, the last jobs I had when I was in like the fitness industry and working at gyms and shit, you'd look at like the 1,000 people that train at that gym, you're like, fuck, I like 15 of you, the rest of you suck. Like, and but you can't choose who you work with. Where now it's pretty awesome. Like we, I'm sure we'll touch on it at some point, but we really just try and be ourselves so that we attract the right type of people. And it means that we like, honestly, 99% of our clients. So that's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So what I want to go into next is, are most dog problems caused by the dog or the owner, or a bit of both?
It's honestly 50-50. There's a lot of rhetoric around there's no bad dog, that's all the owner, but that's a load of BS as well. Like dogs, if all dogs, if that wasn't the case, all dogs would like look different for different breeds, but behave and think exactly the same, which is not the case. And unfortunately, you can get some dogs with very exaggerated breed traits. Like there's some dogs that are bred to chase, and some might come out the womb with that gene just completely overactive, where it's incompatible with a pet lifestyle. Yeah. You can then bred as much as you can get some dud people, you can get some dud dogs. I meet some dogs that are just absolute sociopaths. All they want to do is kill every living being in sight. Wow. And it's, you can definitely get dud dogs, but you can definitely get dud owners. Yeah,
and I think
common.
Yeah, it's very. I think you hit it right on the nail there about it being both. Yeah, like you see a lot, probably more over here than in the UK, where people have got like border collies, Malinois, and they're in the garden all day. Yeah, and you're like, they're not bred to be there. You know what I mean? They need to be like in a field rounding up sheep. Yeah, and they've just got them in like a tiny little duplex or something. Yeah,
it's insane. I moan about it, but it's good for business. So
yeah, that's it. They've got more problems to come to you with. Next thing I want to touch on is there a most misunderstood breed that gets unfair judgment?
That's a good one. That is a good one. Most misunderstood breed that receives the most judgment would probably have to be, I'm going to say off the top of my head, like maybe the German Shepherd. Okay. I think a lot of people think they're, these big tough things, but honestly, most of the ones I meet these days are just snowflakes. They're pretty sensitive, and a lot of people tell me, oh, he's just trying to protect the house. I'm like, no, he's just trying to, protect himself. He's a terrified little individual, and if anyone broke in, he wouldn't do shit. So they're probably misunderstood, not in a good way though.
Yeah, that's like, I know you've got a Rottie, but one of my mates back at home, he's also got a Rottweiler. Yeah. But he's like 40 kilos, but he's just shit scared of everything. Yeah. Like he's like has to wear like a nervous dog collar. Yeah. And I think like, I think that's a big misconception, is like you say, that you think that dog and you just think they just want to like eat you. Yeah. But they're more scared of you half the time. Like, a lot of these dogs that are in the front garden and they're barking at you because you're out at the front gate, they're like scared for their own.
Yeah, you walk in and they bottle it and they run.
Yeah. What's some, like, because I want to sort of touch on, if you go into a house and someone might have a dog, you've never met them for the first time. Yeah. What is a sign to look for? Because you do hear about some horror stories where people get bitten by dogs. Yeah. And sometimes it's their own dog. Yeah. What is some signs or things that you would tell people not to do? Yeah. That it can go down that route of an attack?
Yeah, honestly, like, I wouldn't like to give any specific body language cues, and that's something we coach our clients on, because sometimes in those moments we're looking at like eyes, ears, nose, teeth, it's going to bite. You either get this paralysis by analysis, or by the time you've figured it out, it's like, it's too late, dickhead. Like, to this day, every house I walk into, whether it's this big or this big, I'll go, is your dog friendly? Yeah. And I always just assume that they're not, because the way we train them as well, a lot of people have actually trained out unknowingly some of these warning signs or our ladder of aggression. So we know dogs will kind of avoid, growl, snarl, bark, bite. Yeah. But a lot of people have told their dog off for growling, told them off for snarling, told them off for all this stuff. So it means quite often you get this dog who's building but won't present at all, and then will nail you. So unfortunately, looking out for signs isn't as reliable as the things. Like, best thing you can do is just, sounds shit, but assume they're probably not friendly until you're proven otherwise. Don't take people's word on it. I've had plenty of people tell me my dog's friendly, but they're in massive denial. Like, the dog come up, it'll nail me on the leg.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you ever been bitten by like a dog?
Yeah, plenty. My hands are just chopped up. Yeah. First day back at work this year, I had a Malinois latch onto my thigh, actually. So It's but yeah, I mean, you get, it's part of the job description, like it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not going to say like, oh, it gets easier. Like I don't love being bit.
No, I don't think most people.
Yeah.
I mean, I got bit today, and that wasn't very fun.
Yeah, video on the ground.
Yeah. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, no. What people obviously say that small dog syndrome's a thing. Yeah. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so.
So where's the small ones that are the most little?
Yeah, like I think if you think of like the human race, right? Like you obviously have your variances of like you have people with dwarfism, or you have people with like acromegaly that are 8 feet tall or 2 feet tall. But the vast majority of the population sort of sits between 5 foot and about 6.5 foot. There's not this huge variance. They're either like someone will go to your chin or someone will go to the top of your head. It's not like the dog world where you can have a Great Dane and a Chihuahua where they're literally 45 times bigger.
Yeah,
like that would be like us walking past someone who's 30 floors high. Like it would be a wig out, right? I think that small dog syndrome exists because with like this selective breeding and eugenics that we've done, we've created these breeds so quickly, and I don't think they've adapted. I don't think they fully understand that they're the same species. So putting them in a world that's designed for us and then shrinking these things down. Like, we've got to remember, these things came from wolves that are now 2 kilos and this far off the ground. I do think it's intimidating. And I don't think they come out the womb inherently more aggressive per se, but I do think the world around them just triggers that a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously you've trained thousands of dogs and you've helped, countless owners. Is there one success story that really stands out to you? Like, is there a dog that when he came to you was real bad, or had a lot of negative things and kind of turned it fully on its head?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably like, my very first client, actually, Shrek. This is back in the UK.
Was that a dog's name?
Yeah. He was the very first client, and it was one of those ones where I told the owners, I'm like, hey, here's where I'm at in my journey. I can probably help you get to this far, but I'd like to figure out the rest. So Shrek was this like really obese German Shepherd. He'd had a bit of a history of abuse from the lady's like ex-partner. He'd been taught a bit of dodgy bite work with people. He had some huge reactivity with other dogs, like really bad aggression, all these things, like deer chasing, rabbit chasing, just basically our consult was like 2 pages, like, oh, he does that as well, shit, like stealing stuff from the counter, everything. So it was good. Like Shrek was probably a client of mine a year. I saw a couple of times a week for walk and trains and privates and this and that. And to the owner's credit, like they invested a lot of time, effort and money, and it was awesome. We figured stuff out as we go along. And what was cool is it was almost because we didn't have this deadline of like 5 sessions, 10 sessions or 1 month. It was just like open-ended. It was like, let's get him the best we can be and spend as much time as we need. And Shrek went from being this, I'm not gonna say horrible dog, but this like really vicious German Shepherd to actually coming along to work with me and helping me rehabilitate other dogs with pretty extreme problems. We'd be walking off lead through the park, meeting dogs, saying hello to kids and everything. And it's cool. It was a lot of trial and error, but that was like, Shrek was one of those dogs that really upskilled me. I was like, oh, if I can do this with him, I can do this with a lot of other dogs, and that gave me a lot of confidence. So he's one of those ones that still stands out to me a lot. Yeah,
and I think as well, like you said, that happens. It's not an overnight thing. No. I think a lot of people see they teach their dogs the basic of a paw and a sit, and there's much more than that.
Yeah, especially with like behavior modification, especially with like some of the reels that like, look what we got in one session. Like there's a lot of just really untrue rhetoric. Like, sure, you might got that dog to behave differently in that moment for that video, but for true long-lasting behavior change, it takes time. And it was great. Even when I moved back to Australia, we'd check in with Shrek's parents. They're like, oh yeah, he's still ace. Like, we got another dog, he's good. We take him to the park, he's good. And it was only because we took so much time and like really formed solidly ingrained habits that he did so well. But he's one I always look back on. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a lot of people, like you say, Shrek's a prime example. Like, he had a bit of a bad background. Yeah. And what I really want to touch on quickly is, obviously dogs from the pound. It's quite a I don't know, like they got a stereotype attached to them a lot of the time. Yeah. What's your thoughts on obviously dogs from RSPCA, things like that? Can they have their life turned around, or is it kind of stuck in the brain forever?
You definitely can. It's just not always a full 180. Like I'll definitely meet some dogs who you would never know the kind of history they came from, but a lot of them, just because of the sheer overwhelming weight of that history, like how many repetitions took place of XYZ behaviors or events, and their breeding as well. You see some dogs that are so inherently bloody confused. They'll be
Yeah.
at this, cross that, cross that, cross that. And their mind's pulling them in a million different directions. And like best case, these dogs do a 180. Worst case, the dog's a management case. There's plenty of dogs I see where I'm like, well, I can get you the result you want. Your dog's never going to bite anyone again, but that's not necessarily mean it's trained out. Sometimes it's a management thing. He's not going to bite anyone again because whenever you've got a guest over, he's up in another room in a crate.
Yeah, exactly right.
Some dogs are just like that.
And if they get put back in that situation, they kind of try to revert back to that, hey, like them times to defend
100%.
themselves.
And you don't always know that off the bat. It sometimes takes, spending time with that dog and, like we did with Shrek and chipping away until you realize like, okay, we're really meeting a pretty solid dead end here, and it sometimes weighing up risk reward and all those sorts of things. So it's just one of the things to understand if you're getting a rescue, like you understand whichever rescue you get, it is going to be a project. Yeah. And sometimes there's this really happy ending. Sometimes it's a management case.
Yeah, for sure. I want to just flip back onto the business side. And we spoke about really quickly a few days back about you burning yourself out within the business.
Yeah, big time.
And that was obviously a few years back, but that can obviously happen to most business owners. Yeah. And I think your business doesn't just become a business, it just becomes your life. Yeah. Do you want to go a little bit more further into depth about what happened with that and how you managed it as well, and you kind of put it into a positive thing?
Yeah, for sure. So like, as I mentioned, I've always been pretty hyperactive and done, just been very busy. And it was one of the things I recognized early on. I was like, well, what can my selling points be? I was like, well, availability. No one else works Sunday. I'll work Sunday. No one works till 7. I'll work at 7. All these things. And it was good in theory until we started filling up and I was genuinely doing like, 7 hours a day, 12-hour days, 7 days a week, doing 84-hour work weeks. Wow. Then the back-end admin and stuff. And I was just like, it was insane. But there was a part of me that was like recognizing this is kind of fucked up, but also going, how good's this? I'm making money. If I'm servicing the people, they won't go to my competitors. So I was competitive. But also just this whole like, I want to say like real toxic hustle culture. Like once you, I don't know, your algorithm just knows you're better than anybody, unfortunately. As soon as you start doing your own thing, it just pumps you all this stuff, and it's like basically you got some dickhead on Instagram who's never done anything themselves telling you that's the only way forward and you got to do it and this and that. So I really bought into it, and I don't care who you are, you can sustain it for a certain period and then it just like really catches up with you. And like a bunch of other things as well, but it caught up with me like really fucking hard. I completely burned out, ended up with like really fucking like I always struggled with depression, but like it really just like brought it to the surface and exacerbated it. Wow. And actually tried to take my life. Hey, like it's hectic. Wow. Yeah, I was just like completely done. Ended up being in hospital for a few weeks. So a bunch of my clients who might be listening to this might remember back in 2022 when I needed a few months off. Like that was the reason. I went too hard. I didn't enjoy my life, and it was just shit. And so from there, it was just figuring out how important like a work-life balance was. Like, a lot of people look at, the self-employed and go like, oh, work-life balance and this and that. And it's not just like an attractive trait of being self-employed. It's a necessity, because if you don't have it, where if you do 9 to 5, you clock out, you go home, you don't think about your job. Like it's the first thing I think about in the morning, last thing I think about at night. It's on my mind constantly. And even when you're not actively working, like there's things ticking over you. Yeah,
100%.
So
and I'm
really
really
conscious to manage my weeks now. Yeah, because even when I'm not working, like those hours are still racking up. So it's so important.
What do you do? Obviously, you've got a pretty busy schedule. Like you say, you're trying to work the back end and be in the dog training. How do you work? Like obviously taking on staff and having someone in certain sections and having your own lanes helps. But what do you do? Do you have a time of the week where you go, I'm not doing nothing to the business between this and this, or do you have a hobby? Is it like, how do you manage it?
It was cool. So like one of the things I almost view, like I almost separate myself into, like business max, dog max. And I treat myself like an employee and go like, all right, how do I manage this person's week? How do I manage their burnout? And if I don't create a schedule to do stuff, like if I don't schedule in rest, I just won't stop. Okay. If I don't schedule in business activities, I won't stop. I'll get so absorbed in dog training that I won't then, I'll work so much time working in the business, I won't work on it. And vice versa. If I set aside all this time to work on the business, I'll get so absorbed in it that I'll like neglect my clients and vice versa. So for someone like me with my personality, I have to have these days I do this, on this day I do, you know, this, and on these days I rest. And
So calendar and stuff's real important for you.
Yeah, because otherwise it's, you know, and I feel like a lot of people in the self-employed space are a bit ADHD and spin a lot of plates. And that was one thing, you know, we'll chat about, but I struggled like really badly with early on. So I really have to just
section it all out
and set aside days to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
and
only way it happens.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they get trapped in that business cycle. Like I've worked with small businesses and big businesses, but it's always the smaller businesses.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with business owners, and it's just like, they just, like, you literally hit it on your head. They just dig till they're so low.
Yeah.
And they're like, how do I even go back to normal life?
Yeah.
Like, and, you know, even talking about mental health, like, you know, that's such a big thing. But I think you almost forget that you're a person, because you're just always thinking about the business.
Yeah.
And then you go, right, I'm thinking about the business all day, but then I need to go home and I need to be a family man, and I need to pay bills, and I need to do the shopping, and I need to live a normal life. You know what I mean? So
you end up with a pretty crazy week. And that's like one of the things I guess we're in a position now where people do ask us for business advice, you know, nearly as much as dog advice now, which is really cool. And I love doing it. But one of the things I push back on a lot is like, I go, all this shit you hear about, you have to do this, you have to do that. Like, you fucking don't. Like, you know, like, you know, sure, when we started, like, I did that, but in retrospect, we would have grown regardless, because we're good at what we do. Like, we didn't have to work that much. You don't have to become like addicted and obsessed, because it will just burn you out. And same, I just feel like a lot of the rhetoric around it is like, quit your job tomorrow, hand in your notice, and just grind till like this happens. But again, it's not realistic, and I think it's what puts a lot of people off. Like, I've spoken to friends and clients and whatnot over the years who have said, oh, I want to do my own thing, but like, I don't want to quit my job, and I don't want to work 12 hours. And like, then don't. Like, when I started, I still worked a job. I would just do a couple of hours a week, and then I slowly started going, well, okay, I've got to start cutting back on work because business is growing, and I tipped the scales. And like I said, you know, we had some good growth early on, but we've had better growth since I actually started managing my time better and looking after myself as an asset, rather than just fucking redlining it. So if you hear that shit, like, you really don't need to do it.
That's like, like social media, it's such like you go on there, like you hit on the head, it's like some business owner that, or sometimes they don't even own their own business. And they're like, you need to take an ice bath 700,000 times a week. And then like, you need meditation, and you're like, mate, I don't have time for that shit. Like, you know,
it's all nonsense. Hey, just focus on your craft, focus on your business, and you'll be sweet.
Yeah. And obviously, for people that might not know, you have recently become a dad. So that's pretty exciting. So how, obviously you've had your business so long, and you work on it, you obviously have your partner, you can juggle that. As soon as you have a child, that's like different gravy. Because you need to be there as a dad as much as the business, hey?
Yeah, exactly. And that was honestly, like, I've known for a long time that I've, you know, pretty much as I can remember, I wanted to work for myself. Like, I just knew that was what suited my skill set and personal attributes. And it was a little bit by design as well. Like, I was lucky enough that growing up, like, my parents, you know, there was goods and bads, but one of the things that they did, they always work for themselves, which means they like never missed a sporting event, always there for the school, like all that sort of shit. And I definitely looked at that and looked at, you know, how fortunate I was to have that versus some of my friends who would get home at 3:30 and mum and dad wouldn't be home till 6 or 7 from work, and they're on their own. I'm like, man, like, that's, at the time as a kid, you think that's really cool because you're like, oh, you got the house to yourself. But I look back at now, I'm like, nah, I was lucky to have what I have. So
you actually missed out on so much time, eh?
Yeah, so that's like been really big. Like, having our boy now is been really cool, but it's always been that thing where I'm like, I need to work for myself because I don't want to have someone telling me, no, you can't go and watch your kid play soccer.
You know. Has that always been a big thing for you as well? Like, and a big pro of being a business owner is having flexibility?
Yeah, big time. Yeah,
like, as your young one grows up, they will be going to soccer events and having school nativities, and you'll want to be there for that sort of stuff, hey?
Yeah, that's it. Is like, I've always tell people, if you're in business, like, being self-employed absolutely comes with its cons that probably don't get spoken about, but it absolutely comes with its pros. And to make it worth it, you've got to lean into the pros.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people can get bogged down on like, oh, my days are this and that. And I'm like, okay, but you can also do X, Y, Z that your friends who work for a company can't. So you may as well lean into that and make it worth it. So I lean into it really fucking hard. Like, you know, if I want to make this, if it's a friend's birthday, like I won't miss it. And especially as our boy gets older, I won't miss a single thing, because otherwise, what's the point of being self-employed, having all this extra responsibility and stress and time you spent, and you don't even get a payoff for it. And I see a lot of people in business like that, where I go, you basically own a job, because you don't look after yourself, you give yourself no freedom. Like you're your own boss, but you're the world's shittiest boss to yourself. So time and again.
I've always been very similar. Like I've always wanted to do my own thing, and like we were chatting in the car, like I would hate to be like 50 years old and be like, can I go for a toilet break?
Yeah.
Like, just what the fuck is that about? Yeah. Like it's what, like, and some people watch this and they're happy just to do that, but like I think being in that business mind, it's for a certain few people, but you're like, I'll make it work because I don't want to live that life. Yeah, that's it. You know, and getting up at 3:30 in the morning to go and work in a warehouse at 4 a.m. Like, who wants to do that? Like, you know, I think you've got to do something you're passionate about. And, you know, they say, if you love your work, you never work a day in your life. And I think that is true to some degree. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because as much as, it is work for you and being a business owner, but you love this shit.
I'm lucky that working fills my cup, it doesn't drain it.
Like,
literally. I'll get home and be like, I've always had so much to tell my wife. I'm like, oh, this happened at work and this happened at work, or doing stuff like this and just the opportunities it brings. And everyone's wired differently. There's no right or wrong. It's just different. But if you are like wired that way, where you do take issue with certain parts of working with someone else, and working yourself is attractive to you, like, go for it. But you just get it. Just commit to it. Yeah.
And next thing I want to touch on really quickly is obviously when you probably first started your business, social media wasn't so big. Yeah. How does it play a role in your business now? Yeah. And, you know, is it a positive thing that that you're always thinking about?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, for sure. So like it was a tough one for me, because when I started, I'd actually stopped using social media in a personal context. Like, I'd use it for Facebook Marketplace or maybe keeping tabs with friends, but I didn't post it in years. Like, I deleted my personal Instagram account. I was I just wasn't into it. I just was not a big social media person. So I had a bit of that, but I also recognized, like, when I'd speak to other people in the industry who were very against it, I was like, nah, you guys are like, you're missing something here. There's something to this. So by no means saying we're an early adopter. Like, I think every business was adopting it. We just lent into it pretty hard and saw the power of it. And we see a direct correlation. Like, if I post a reel, you get more messages, you get more clients, and it's the way it is. So like it or love it, it is just the most effective way to get to your audience and speak to them and have conversations.
Yeah. And that's one thing I was going to touch on, is what sort of social media does best for you. Would you say Reels is pretty up there?
Yeah, like Reels are definitely the strongest in terms of capturing new audience, and plus your own audience watches them. But it's a funny one. Again, you got to kind of find content that serves your existing clients, but then find stuff that speaks to new people and find a juggle. Yeah. And then the overarching umbrella with all that, like, when we're deciding, right, who's this for? Is it for new clients or existing clients? Is it for people with this issue or that issue? But the umbrella thing is, you got to enjoy content you enjoy making or would watch yourself. Like, there was definitely a point in time when I was really inauthentic with that content. Like, as you probably would have seen today, I don't have much of a filter with my language.
No.
And there was
I love that, though. I actually
We've lent into it now. And
like, even being in classes, and you're just like, he's a fucking stupid dog. Or like, you know, this happened, and I'm just like, mate, that's just like my type of guy. Like, he's just so open, and you think it, you say it. Yeah. And I think that's what's probably grown. Like, you don't just think of you as like Max, you think like he is so like just him.
Yeah, the foul mouth.
Yeah, like the foul mouth dog trainer.
but we've led into it. There's probably like a period of like a year where I can cut all that out, and I was really trying to be as articulate and whatnot as possible, and almost taking like the way I'd have to do a presentation at uni, translating that to my business. And it worked for the wrong kind of clientele, though. I'd find that I was attracting people who were completely misaligned with me, and that was part of the burnout. I was going to cases and I was like, fuck, I would spend a whole hour like watching my language, speaking a certain way, being overly polite and formal, and it was silly. Like, it had like a broader appeal to people in a sense, but in the end I was like, no, like, this, if that's who you are, that's who you are. But I was like, this is not authentic to me. But what I found was, when I started being more authentic to me, I'm sure like I turn a lot of people off, but the people I turn on or like our content really like it, rather than people just going, oh yeah, cool, this guy looks all right. So if you're a brand, like, just just be you, whoever that is. Like, if you are the polite person, be that person. If you're this person, be that person. And all of our content now is saying, like, it makes it easy to make because I'm just talking rather than having to put on a persona.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like we touched on before, like a lot of people do put on them personas. They want to be that perfect person, but you just got to be yourself. And if people will support you, they will. And if they won't, then they won't.
That's it. You can't fool people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Would you give any tips to businesses trying to scale through content? Would you say hammer the content, hammer the social media, like get a few bits out there every day, or would you just say do what you can?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like my biggest takeaway with content is a couple of things. Like the two best advices I've been given is one from like Jacob from YCA, Yorkshire Canine Academy, said like perfection is the enemy of the done. If you're constantly trying to find the perfect reel, you'll sit on it for a day, a week, a month, and then it'll sit in your drafts and just won't go out. And all that time you've been so focused on that you're missing posting on days where other people are posting. And then that one really hit hard with me. Then another one was a book I read called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle or something. Anyway, The Talent Code. And they did a study where it wasn't on, it was actually a photography or videography study, not on content, but they had two groups of students. Like one, they said, over the next month, we want you to take only 10 photos, but they have to be the 10 best photos possible. Wow. And then the other group, so these people every day were like really spending time like, no, that's not a good one. No. And across the month, they only took 10 photos. That's only 10 reps of practice. Where the other group, they said, take as many photos as fucking possible. Just do it, even if it's a shit photo. When they got to the end, most of the group only took 10 photos. Like, even though they were meant to be the 10 best photos, they were shit. Whereas the ones who were just taking like 3,000 photos, somewhere in there was some absolute gems, and that was how they learned to hone down. So same with content. It's just getting out. Like if it gets 1,000 likes or 10,000 likes or whatever, like it doesn't matter. It's just getting it out and getting those practice in and getting over, like we spoke about, your own hang-ups if you're worried about that. And through that repetition, you'll be able to actually then get some usable data and seeing what people like. Number one is you kind of figure out, okay, like what sort of captions people like, where do they like the headers, do they like when I put this in, or do people think it's corny, do they like when I do it longer or is it shorter? So you kind of figure out what people like and what they don't like, but at the same time is, to kind of almost give the opposite to that is, it's not all about like crazy numbers of engagement. Like some of our best performing reels don't bring in that much business, and vice versa. Like you might do a reel that doesn't appeal to thousands and thousands of people. It might only appeal to a couple of thousand, but the people that appeals to it, like it's so niche to them that it hits them right here, and they go like, holy fuck, he's not speaking to everyone, he's speaking just to me. And it's crazy. Like you might do a reel that gets 100,000 views and 2 messages of it. You might do a reel that gets 1,000 views, but you get 20 messages of it. Yeah,
it's like quality over quantity.
100%. It's just like, so yeah, that's what we said before. Like sometimes you're speaking to a wide audience, sometimes a narrow, but either way, just get a reel out or just get a piece of content out every day and just get the reps in, and don't worry about all these things like post at this time or just do one a day. Like some of the best accounts I've seen like break all the rules. Some accounts I follow post 5 to 10 times a day. Some I'll see post one a week. Like it's just good content's good content. Don't get too hung up on shit, basically.
Yeah, don't get too hung up on like comparing yourself to others, eh? Yeah. Like I was doing on our first podcast, if people would watch that one with my barber, he says like comparison is the thief of joy.
Big time.
And I'm like, big time. Like I find myself even doing it. Like, oh, they've done this, like I need to do this. And it's just like, just go on your own journey and, kind of see where it takes you.
Just do it. Because I guarantee like the people that are most successful, like aren't worrying about you.
No.
So it's just like, don't worry about them. Just do your thing. Do what works.
Yeah. Mate, I want to go into the business side. What was the hardest lesson, like the hardest single lesson that you've learned while building the business or a business, sorry?
Probably just trying to like just narrow your focus. Like the more I've had like tunnel vision and really condensed down what we're doing and like aiming our sights down to just like on one or two things and doing those well has been better. Like just naturally my personality, I'm a bit of a plate spinner. I'm always trying to do something. Sweet. And that was probably my biggest enemy early on, even before Down Under Dog Trainer was a thing, is I'd start this and I'd have enough interest to get it to here, but not over the line. And then I'd go, oh, hang on, new shiny thing. Yeah,
ADHD type
big
stuff.
Time, yeah. I mean, and I struggled with that for ages. I get like these half-cooked ideas and this and this and that. And then eventually when I did have an idea, like Down Under Dog Trainer, it did go well and took off and actually became a business.
Yeah.
Initially when I had it, is that same mentality then came to the business. Like when Down Under Dog Trainer started, I tried to be a dog trainer, a dog walker. We tried to have a pet photographer, tried to do pet sitting. We had a pet portrait artist. We tried to do pet nutrition. Like I wanted to be this one-stop shop. And I thought, on one hand, I thought that was really cool. On one hand, I thought it was just me again, realizing I'm spinning plates. And that's where it comes back to, like, I was my business's biggest asset in terms of being a dog trainer, being our primary service, but also business's anchor, because I wasn't focused on growing one particular thing and just trying to like spin plates again. It meant there was probably a year or two when I was really into that we just didn't really grow. We just kind of just plateaued and did our thing. And it wasn't until I just like got rid of the photographer, got rid of the portrait artist, got rid of the dog walker, got rid of the nutritionist, and went, it's just going to go back to just being me and my admin, and let's just focus on the dog training. That it's really leveled up and gone well. And then even there, when I've even niched down further now and some things were working in the background, I'm like, okay, well, let's really niche down on this area of dog training and just go after that. It's helped again. So it's really just like narrowing your focus and getting one thing going really fucking well before you do another thing, even on like a minute level.
Okay, cool. And what does, like, compared to the early days, like, what does a bit of a day in the life look like for you?
Early days?
Yeah, like compared to early days to now.
Yeah.
Like, are they fairly similar, or has a lot of stuff changed, obviously, as the team's grown?
Yeah, pretty different. Like, so an early day for me when I started, like I said, I was still working. So, like, a typical day when I started was I'd get up, and before work started, I'd go and do a client, like 7 till 8.
Wow.
I then work, say, 8 till 3, and I was lucky being a groundskeeper at the time. My bosses were really cool. They're like, yeah, you can have fucking dogs with you. So I used to do doggy daycare. I'd be mowing the lawn while all these dogs were in like a place train or just running around the paddock with me.
That's sick.
So I had dogs all day. Then on my lunch break, I'd chuck all the dogs in the car, go for a drive, go see another client, do another dog, come back, work the afternoon. Then as soon as I'd finish, I'd go and do 2 or 3 dogs in the afternoon. And then on the weekends, I'd just do dogs. And I was just, that's what I mean. I was just like so obsessed with it early on, which is, that was probably like a healthy amount. Like I said, because I was still working, still doing this and whatnot. Then I had that unhealthy portion where I was doing the 7 till 7s. And now it looks like I'm much stricter with my time. And if I'm like 8 till 4, that's like what we do a thing. And even with our staff is we'll say like, hey, if you're doing evening classes, you're not working in the morning, like start later.
That's
like
really good.
Don't fucking do what I did. It's not cool.
A lot of especially big businesses, they don't think about that fatigue start pay. Fatigue's not thought about as much as I think it should be.
No, that's it.
You know, especially like even going into like the tradie world. And like they'll drive an hour and a half to a job, but the work don't see the travel. And then they're still driving back like 12, 13 hours later, and they're back up in the morning doing the same. Like,
it's crazy.
It's really good that you've employed that fatigue management as well. Hey,
big time. And it's something we're really big on, and speak from experience on. Like we're really strict with our time. And what's cool is some of our other staff have got kids and they've got lives and got personal lives, and we get everyone in the team, like everyone in the business, like we really say, hey, like respect your time. Never let a client push you into working outside of what you're comfortable with, because like at the end of the day is if you somehow attract a client that doesn't respect your time, like fuck that. Again, if you're going to be self-employed, lean into the perks of it. One of the perks of it is you can choose who you work with. And if people like, well, like I can't or won't make that work, I need you to be here this time. Like, look, it's all good. We're not for everyone. It's cool. And if we're not for you, we're not for you. Like, we're not going to be offended. Like, there'll be someone who's willing to bend over that far, but we're just not at this point.
That's good though. You have self-respect, hey?
You got to, like I said, unfortunately, and it's good. We attract people who genuinely care about us, and it's mutual because we genuinely care about them. And like I said, it's the days are certainly a bit cruisier now. And again, it's not just a perk of being self-employed, it's a necessity. Like if you don't have that work-life balance, like you're saying, those extra hours that aren't really on the clock, it's crazy. Like when I finish at 4 o'clock, I clock off from dog training at 4 o'clock, but business owner is on for like 6 hours from 4 to 10. So even though I'm not actively on the computer, it's just like And I have
Taking
to
time.
really try and force myself to go, I am not thinking about work and trying to be present. So
Wow.
having a kid has been good for that. It's a very good anchor.
Bit of a distraction, eh?
Big time, big time.
What does, obviously we're nearly going into 2026, nearly end of the year. What does the next few years look like with you? Is there team expansion, anything like coming up that you want to share?
Yeah, so a couple of things, like we're, working on expanding our footprint, moving down into Tweed and moving up to the Logan Beanley area.
Wow.
So that the geographic expansion for sure. We're definitely looking at expanding the team. Is one thing I really love and I'm really passionate about is, like, again, my business side of things is just as passionate about my dog training brain and giving people their dream job. Like, I love that,
That's sick.
a lot of people who, like me, grew up wanting to train dogs and now getting to do it is sick. Or like admin is like, want to work from home. I'm like, fuck yeah, like how can we
want
make
you
that
to
a
work from home?
more expansive job role and that. So definitely looking to add to the team for that. And then same, just like trying to meet more people's needs, going like, hey, like, well, we've got XYZ product. What else can we do to help these people who don't fit into what we currently have to offer?
Yep.
And it's also just a new challenge for me as a business owner and a dog trainer to go, well, okay, I'm now speaking to people in this different medium with our online stuff we're building. How can I get the best possible product across? And then as a business owner, how can I, create that offer and market it effectively? So it's cool. It's perks of being self-employed. You may as well lean into it, as like you can really get creative and do different things and try different stuff. And there's something I struggle with is like when I worked at other places, because I had all these ideas. They're like, yeah, cool, but like that's not your job. So like, thanks, but no thanks, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Whereas now, like, as my admin will tell you, like, I just blow up her phone all the time. Like, oh my God, can you make me this on Canva? And then can you contact this and can you draft up this? Because I thought of this. And it's just like, it's an outlet for it. So it's sick.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I want to do a bit of dog owner rapid fire.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just basically some short questions and questions for you to answer that I think most people would want your opinion on.
Yep.
In your opinion, what is the smartest dog breed?
I know it's technically a border collie, but it's a collie or a Malinois.
Okay.
I'm really struggling to split the two.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
What is the most stubborn dog breed?
Probably English bulldogs that are so resistant to change. It's not funny. They're not interested in being told what to do.
Okay. What is the easiest dogs for the first time owners?
We actually did a reel and a potty on this the other week. So for first time dog owners, we say, like, for medium breed, like a Whippet. For a small breed, a Cavalier King Charles or a Pug. And then for a large breed, a Greyhound or a Golden Retriever.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah,
Oh, they're not that easy. I got one. What is the worst dog for lazy owners? Any dog.
Any dog, yeah. Don't. If you're a lazy owner, don't get a dog.
Okay.
It's the wrong pet for you, not just the wrong breed.
Okay. If you could give one rule that every dog owner had to follow, what would it be and why?
Heavily research your breed before you get them and be committed to working with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is every dog breed trainable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To a degree, like various levels of trainability, but every breed can be taught anything. Yeah.
What has been the highlight of your career so far?
I actually don't know what a highlight would be. Probably, like, I guess a few, like doing my Nepo Post silver and gold was pretty big. Like, that was always a qualification I really dreamed of achieving and passing. So I was pretty proud of that. I think when we first were able to start bringing on other trainers and like mentor them and mold them into really good trainers was a highlight. Guess being brought on a few other dog training podcasts and asked to speak on certain topics where I was like, damn, I was listening to you guys 2 years ago. Now I'm here. Like,
that's sick.
That's fucking wild.
Do you want to actually just tell the people that you got your own podcast?
Yeah, we've got our own podcast now, which is where we're recording.
Yeah. Shout out Jack for letting us use the.
Shout out to Jack.
Yeah, using the studio.
Yeah, so we've got our own podcast at the moment, the Dog People Pod.
Yep.
And
I'll link all that below as well, so people
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, have a listen.
Yeah, same. Wanted to create a dog podcast for the average owner. We noticed, again, a bit of a gap in the market and a niche, and we just thought we'd go after it. But again, like, we didn't have to go like, all right, let's both quit what we're doing and invest 12 hours a day and become obsessed with this and have this. It's like, no, we just, like, we started it and we just committed to it. Just every Thursday, we come in here, we just do an hour to an hour and a half every Thursday. That's it. We do very little in between, but it's just that little bit adds up. You don't need it, and it's off the ground now, and we're actually really surprised and happy with the numbers.
Yeah.
But again, that wasn't born out of crazy obsession and shit. Like, just start something in the background and chip away at it, like as you're doing with this. Like, you don't have to go like, I'm going to go buy like 50K of equipment, quit my job and build a studio and do this and that, because that's often such a barrier for a lot of people. But you just create something in the background and keep your job, and just a couple of hours a week, you'll be like very surprised what a couple of hours a week can build.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. What is your opinion on a raw diet compared to kibble?
Yeah, definitely way better. Way better. Yeah. It's like just more species appropriate. Like, kibble was invented when back in World War I, when dogs first were starting to be used by the military and they had to deploy them, but like, every dog was raw fed to them or eating meat. They're like, we can't just take hundreds of kilos of this, and what can we do? So they first started dehydrating it, and then realizing that much meat dehydrated is really expensive, so they started packing with cereals and then drying it and then pressing into kibble, and went, this is awesome. So in the same way that like armies have all like these foil ration packs that you can live on a shelf for 15 years, like kibble's no different. And it was
I never even knew that.
Yeah, it was just invented for practicality, and then it became so easy and so cheap that everyone adopted it. And like, it's certainly not as big and bad as everyone thinks. Like, a lot of people really demonize it, but I make a point of chatting to owners whose dogs live a long life, and I'm like, your dog got to 15. What did you feed him? They're like, just like pedigree kibble. So it's like a lot of dogs make it a very long time off kibble. It's not as bad, but again, it'll get them across the line, but it's not optimal. Like, Nelson's coat doesn't shed as much as other Rotties because he's on a raw diet. He's shinier than a Rotties because he's on a raw diet. He's got more musculature because he's on a raw diet. He's not as sporadic in his energy because he's on a raw diet. But if you're going to do it, you just got to do it properly. You can't just go and get like couple of drumsticks and some beef mince from Coles. You got to do a bit of research and speak to someone and do it the right way. But once you do it, you'll fall in love with it and you won't want to go back. And
because I saw a thing as well that like dogs eating kibble and then drinking heaps of water can like mess up their stomach and stuff, and it doesn't blend well in the stomach.
It's like if you leave like cereal in the bowl overnight and you don't wash your dishes, and then you go down next morning and you got a Cheerio that's the size of a fucking donut. And like, what the hell? Like, it can happen in the belly as well. So
obviously you run puppy school, but you also have like puberty blues and things for bigger dogs. What's your favorite to train, puppies or adult dogs?
I'm really split. I do miss doing puppy school. Like, our staff do puppy school now, and it's something that I just don't have time for. I focus more on the private stuff mostly, but I do love working with puppies. Hey,
they're the cutest.
It's fun, man. Again, perks of the job. It's sick.
That's it. What's one command every dog owner must teach?
Recall.
Recall?
Yeah, recall.
Okay. What's your opinion on inside/outside only dogs?
I always think like a hybrid works best, but again, depends on the breed. Like, there's plenty of breeds who really don't want to be outside if they're bred like a livestock guardian dog, like a Maremma, wants to patrol. And even like Nelson, he'll be inside. He'll just let us know he wants to go out. And we're like, do you need to go pee? He goes, no, I just want to sit by the gate and make sure no one comes in. And he gets a kick out of that.
Even George like that. Like, he'll go out and I'm like, you need to go wee, and just go to like sunbathe. And just like loves laying on the deck. Like, he just froths it. Hey.
So I think hybridize it. Honestly.
Okay. What would you say to someone who wants to start dog training but has no idea where to begin?
Yeah, good point. We did do an episode on this actually, so I'll give you the condensed answer if you want
Listen to the Dog People podcast.
Number one is find people to follow whose content you can consume. Like, most good dog trainers aren't really protective of their knowledge. They'll give a lot away for free. So find someone you think is good, who aligns with the way you want to do things, and consume a lot of their content. Find some people local to you who've got, say, the most reviews, and ask to shadow them. Again, most people, luckily in this industry, aren't crazy gatekeepers. Like, we have a shadow program we do for a lot of people where they just come along and learn how to do what we do.
Awesome.
So there's that as well. And then at some point, do some sort of course or go to a seminar and get some like formal knowledge. And then just get your hands on dogs. Like, how I started this was just because dog training was a hobby. I just started helping my mates with their dogs and just tinkering. And because there was no payment, it was no expectation. I was like, this might not happen, or it might happen. It might take a week, might take a few months. Like, who knows? Let's just have a crack. And when there's no payment, there's no pressure. And at some point, you'll get good enough at doing it, and you will have invested enough. And you're like, I paid for this seminar. So if I'm now paying, people can start paying me. And that's all we did.
Sweet. What's the biggest goal for 2026?
Biggest goal for 2026, just this, we've got some like financial and monetary goals we're going after that's on like the whiteboard.
Yep.
That we're like really got our heart set on, and then really just this like new product we're doing in the background for reactive dog clients.
Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. Yeah, it is just really making that as good as it possibly can, and then learning to market that effectively and getting that out. And again, like the business owner in me goes, well, I want this to market this so it's a good product and it's good ROI and it's all that sort of stuff. But the dog trainer in me goes, well, it's in my best interest to, because if I don't pitch this properly and people don't take it up on it, this could really fucking help them. And if I don't convince them of that, then I'm a shit trainer, a shit owner. So yeah, just really getting that off the ground and that smashing it is my goal.
Yeah. If everything that you've built around dog training and business disappeared tomorrow, what would you do for work?
I'd probably start another dog training company.
That was an Instagram question as well. So someone out there wants to know.
If I just stop everything,
Just restart?
I just restart it. I'd honestly just do this again because I love it that much. Like, I honestly couldn't imagine doing anything at this point. I'm like so all chips and it's not funny. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Like,
Eh?
if my wife and I have these conversations where we're like, if it gets to a point where we don't have to work, we'd love to buy like matching ride-on lawnmowers and just no acreage properties together. So
Well, just side by side.
Yeah, just go and mow and just like, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What is your favourite breed of dog and why?
Rottweiler.
Nelson.
Just the right mix of everything. Like, he hasn't got as much, drive as a Malinois at our club, but I like it.
He's at the door.
He's just a big, thick, beautiful, chunky monkey. I just like that he's got Rottweilers of generally like a good, well-bred one's got range. Like, for example, so his grandfather, like where we got him from, was like an IGP3 champion. So for those that don't know, like he was a dog that did protection and bite work and was really fucking good at it. But he was also a national child's cart pulling champion.
Wow.
And there's photos where he'd literally take the kids to school in a cart, meet all the kids, get patted, and then go and bite someone at work that night.
That's wild.
And a good Rottweiler, so they should have like just that range. And as you saw before, like, you copped a bite from Nelson, and then we gave him his cue, he's finished, and then he's like licking you and loving
It's like
you.
a whole different dog.
Same,
Hey?
and then he'll go back inside, he'll go from like bite work to he'll be best friends with that cat, or he'll chase at a ball at 100 miles an hour, and that's why I love him.
Yeah, and that really shocked me. Hey, how he went from like, oh, there's Sam, like waggy tail, scratch my bum, so I'm gonna bite you. I'm running at you, I'm like mouth open, I'm shitting myself. Going back to, I love you, can you scratch my bum? Like, it's just like a switch. Hey,
that's it.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
mate. Last question for you, because I know we got to wrap up. If you could give one piece of advice to our audience, life or business related, what would it be?
Just go after you want. Like, life's so short, man. Like, I see so many people who get in their own way, and like I said, I did it for a bit, and my life's changed for the better since I stopped doing it. Like, so many people with their own worst enemy. Like, everyone thinks of 100 reasons to not do something. Well, what if this? What if that? What if that? What if that? But like, think of the reasons. Like, yeah, but what if you do it? Like, just you honestly, like, all the shit that seems so important now, like, oh, what if so-and-so thinks I'm an idiot? What if like no one likes it? What if this like will become so irrelevant? And like I said, having that sort of, near death sort of thing gave me such crazy perspective and all that. When I got to the end and sort of went like, I was like at that point, I was like about to do it. I was like, fuck, like all that shit I worried about is so fucking insignificant. And I'm really lucky I had that realization, when I was in my, mid-20s. Whereas like, you don't want to get to 80, 90, you've wasted your life and just like not do what you want to, and you get there and you go, fuck, man, like I was so worried about doing this because of what my childhood friends would think, and they'd laugh about me, and like, fuck that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck that. So just go after it,
I
man.
think people that, like you say, are in that headspace, they got to kind of fall back in love with life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And find the things that they really love, and
100%.
Just go after the good stuff.
Get out of your own way, just go for it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Mate, pleasure. Thank you for coming on, mate. No worries. I'll leave all Mac's socials for the podcast and personal all below. If you haven't, go over to the Instagram and follow and share some love on there. But yeah, for now, I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.